Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Monday, February 15th edition of the MMAOB Daily Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Adam Martin, and I'm joined by my co-host on Monday mornings, Mr. Marcel Dorff, a.k.a. Big Marcel, also known as number one in the MMAOB Pick'em pool. Beginner's luck, Marcel. I'm telling you, man.
It definitely is, man. Good morning.
You're killing it, bro. You're doing great. Another crazy card, Marcel. Another crazy card. Like this whole year, man, it's just been like, so many fights, dude. Like it's insane right now. This sport is the best, and every card there's just like unbelievable upsets, especially on this card, man. There was one on the prelims, Marcel. We'll talk about.
Yeah,
it was like the most fun I've had watching a fight in a long time, man. Watching that fight, which we'll talk about in a second. But how was your weekend, Marcel? I know it was Valentine's weekend, Marcel. Did you have a nice little dinner or anything like that? Get some flowers or some love letters or?
No, bro, nothing. I mean, it's really more of an American kind of thing, I think, and it's been adopted over the whole world pretty much right now.
Right.
No, I'm not really into that kind of stuff. But hey, maybe listen, I don't have anybody. I don't have a partner or whatever, so maybe that's why I'm not really into it. So
yeah, for sure.
So maybe it's more fun for you to tell that to the people than for me. So
I guess, I mean, for me, like, honestly, like I've had many girlfriends in my life, but like they were never too serious. So I never really like had someone that like actually meant something as my Valentine's, you know, but I'm with my current partner and she's my fiance, obviously. So I love her, man. And it was a nice day. Like I got her flowers. We went and did some shopping a little bit and we got a nice dinner. And then we watched some movies. We just chilled. Like, you know, she's great. We watched UFC too on Saturday night. So, I mean, that was my weekend. That was my Valentine's weekend. It was a good, solid weekend overall, Marcel. So, sending much love here, Marcel, you know, to you. And I hope you had a good weekend as well. I think for me, overall, it was fine. But the thing is, like, it's tough for me because, like, my grandmother died 2 years ago on Valentine's Day. So, I've been dating my current fiance for almost 3 years now. But, like, that was the first Valentine's that we had together was the one where she passed away in the same day. So it's always a bittersweet day. Like I went to the cemetery yesterday to see her grave and stuff. So yes, I posted a photo on my Twitter. It looks great. It's fun. It's nice. That's the one side you see. You don't see the other side where I was at my grandmother's grave yesterday, you know? So I don't want to talk about that stuff online. I want to make it happy. And that's what it was. And it was happy because we watched a great card too, right? It was an awesome card, man. Let's get into it, Marcel. Main event of the evening, Kamaru Usman and Gilbert Burns. Jeez. Another amazing performance by this guy, man. I mean, the first round was obviously sketchy. It looked like he was close to being hurt. Like he was hurt bad, obviously. I guess I don't know if he counted as a knockdown, but he got hurt. He got dropped by Burns early on in the fight. The first 30 seconds. And I was thinking, oh man, this is just like the Woodley fight where he dropped him early and he never recovered. But Usman recovered so quick, Marcel. And after that, you just saw how good he is. The jab. The jab reminds me of GSP, the way it's like a piston-like jab, just fire, bang, bang. But he's like a more improved version of GSP in many ways. I'm not saying he's a better fighter overall or anything like in the GOAT list, but Marcel, the way he's able to jab and use that jab to knock down Gilbert Burns twice was phenomenal. I mean, the amount of power we saw in Usman's jab was phenomenal. So I was blown away by his performance, man. I mean, obviously he got hurt the first round, but after that, incredible. I want to hear you talk about Usman. I want to talk about Burns too, but I want to hear your thoughts on Usman first.
Like I said, man, I expected a decision win, but Usman did very well after not a very good first round for him. He came back like halfway second round, you know, tagged Gilbert, and from that moment, it was he had it in the bag, you know. He had to fight in the bag. At the moment he tagged Gilbert in the halfway the second round, it was Usman's fight, and yeah, he put him away, man, in the third round. A very good performance overall, man. I see people still talking shit about Usman online. I don't understand it, to be honest. You know, listen, man. I know he's with a lot of fans not really popular, but you gotta give the guy credits, man. If you see who he beat, how he beat them, and what he did, you know, people should look past that. You know, I know Gilbert Burns is a big fan favorite, and there's also to do with how he interacts with fans online and everything. You know, he's really popular, and Usman is not really that guy who interacts a lot with fans, and people think he's boring, but I think he's a great champion and one of arguably maybe I would say I wouldn't put him above GSP in my opinion, but he is definitely one of the best welterweights of all time in the UFC. So gotta give him that credit. And I wouldn't be mad if somebody puts him above GSP, to be honest, but I personally wouldn't. But hey, if he wins 2 or 3 more, man, maybe I have a different opinion, you know?
Yeah, he's incredible. I mean, he's 18-1 in his career. He's 13-0 in the UFC. That's amazing. Yeah. Now, the thing is, and his resume is amazing too. I mean, the wins are really good, Marcel. Like Colby, Jorge, Woodley, RDA, Burns, Maya, Leon Edwards as well. He's got some amazing wins. I mean, it's unbelievable what he's done. But only 3 title defenses compared to 11 for GSP. To me, that is the difference right there. And also this, people are going to be like, whoa, when they hear this. He's 33 right now, right? That's when GSP retired after Johnny Hendricks. He was 33. So all those years, GSP didn't have to like make it an even more impressive resume, Marcel, because I think he could have won more fights. Go ahead.
Oh man, I want to hear Cole Shelton's opinion on this one.
I wonder if he's around today. I hope he's here. Hopefully you're here, Cole.
That's the big game changer for you that GSP has so many title defenses and Usman doesn't.
11-3, Marcel. I mean, to me, that's indisputable, you know?
It's with the Connor discussion last time out. I want to know what his opinion is on this one. It really
the guy's amazing. Like, there's no doubt about it. Listen, if you want to say Usman's better, you can make an argument. Like, because the quality wins are really good. I just think GSP, what he did it for longer. He did it against, yes, looking back now, you're like, oh, Matt Serra, Matt Hughes, these guys are old. They're not that good. At the time, they were the best guys. It's so easy to look back and say that. I hate that argument, Marcel.
You can also, people are like, Chuck Liddell's record isn't that great. You thought, man, different eras. These guys were top of the game at that moment. You can't compare.
I agree completely. You have to beat the best guys of that time. And looking back, sure, these guys, they lost a bunch of fights in their careers, but at the time, GSP, what he was doing at the time, Marcel, he was beating guys so easy. 50-45 every fight. Easy.
Complete fighter. And MMA has evolved so much that you just can't compare these eras, because MMA was still in the 90s. It was still baby shoes, MMA. Yeah. And it developed. And you see pretty much also nobody gets caught anymore in triangle chokes or whatever. You saw how many triangle chokes, arm bars we had in the UFC 60s, UFC 70s, UFC 80s. And right now you maybe see 2 finishes like that in a month or something. So it's definitely different right now, man. Everybody trains ground game, everybody trains stand-up game. So it's different.
I just hate the whole Usman and GSP comparison in general. Can we appreciate both of them? Why do we have to be in a rush to compare these guys and be like Usman's better than GSP now? Honestly, GSP right now is better than Usman, but I think Usman, if he continues this forward progression like he has been, Marcel, there's no question he can get. If he gets to 20-0, you're talking about the greatest fighter of all time, not just the greatest welterweight. He's closing in on the pound for pound discussion right now, no doubt about it. To me, he's easily the top 10. He should actually, Marcel, I think he's close to the top 5 right now, pound for pound. And I know that's a whole stupid discussion itself, but the guy's amazing. The whole Usman's boring thing, I don't agree with that either. That he's had some boring fights. He definitely has. The Masvidal fight was not a good fight, although it was taken on 7 days' notice, which everyone forgets about, Marcel. For Usman, everyone's like, oh, Masvidal had 7 days to train and cut weight. What about Usman fighting a completely different guy? It was a completely different fight, So to me, you got to give the guy respect. Go ahead.
That's not even true, man. Masvidal prepared 2 months for that fight because he knew he could have been a backup for that fight. And and now they're saying it's just 7 days. It's complete BS, But
well, we gotta talk about the rematch. What do you think about this? I'm not interested, really.
I don't have to see it, man. I said it right after the fight. I understand Usman wants a fight because it makes him a lot of money probably to fight Masvidal again, but that will be a one-sided beatdown, man. Masvidal isn't. Listen, I like Masvidal, no disrespect, but he doesn't have the same talent as Usman has. The top-notch fighting, the wrestling. Usman can take him down at will, I think. The only thing he has to be aware of that he doesn't get knocked out. But I don't see it happening, man. I don't have to see it. The right fight to make is the winner of Leon Edwards, Colby Covington fighting Usman next, And I also don't want to hear people like, oh, Usman should fight Khabib. Those two are not going to fight each other. Stop dreaming.
Honestly, you know what? I know they want to do that fight with Leon and Colby. Why not just give Leon the title shot at this point? Why not just give it to him? Because do you really need to have him potentially lose another opponent? I would just give him – Usman took no damage. Well, that's not true. He took a little bit of damage in this fight in the first round. But I think he'll be able to get back in the cage this summer. So maybe 4 months from now. Go ahead.
No, man. No, don't give Edwards an immediate title shot, man. I mean, he hasn't fought for so long. I know. That Woodley pulled out and that Chimaev pulled out. But
I agree completely. The thing is, though, it's all about timing in the sport. You got to take the opportunities when they come. And right now, if the UFC's like, here's your chance to get the title shot you've been asking for 2 years, Leon, maybe he takes it. Even though I agree with you, like after the layoff, it'd be better for him to take a layup. But the truth is, Marcel, either if it's Covington or Usman, those are two really hard fights. You might as well just bypass Colby and go right to the title shot, in my opinion.
You know what I think, man? I think everybody says it's great that Usman will stay in this division and fight everybody, and I like it as well. But I think the moment Adesanya goes to light heavyweight and
I wouldn't be surprised either.
I think he wins against Jan. And if he wins, I think Usman goes to middleweight.
And he could do well there. I mean, he's a beast. You know what's crazy, right? Like they show his height on every broadcast. It says he's 6 feet tall. Dude, when I was in Brazil, he was there.
Yeah.
And I saw him in the airport. We were talking to him. I'm 6'3", Marcel. I swear to God, he was taller than me. Maybe it's because he's like got that bigger than life persona because he's like, you're talking to UFC champion. But I got a tall dude. I felt like he was taller than me, bro. Like he's a big dude for 170. It's incredible he makes that weight. But at 185, I think he'd be right there too. Okay, I'm gonna get all these questions. There's a bunch, but the one last thing I want to say is about Burns. So disappointed in his performance, and I'll tell you why. He had Usman hurt so bad and chose to flop on his back and sit there for like 3 minutes, Marcel. What was he thinking? What a terrible game plan. What were they thinking? They had everything going right. They were standing and training with him, hurt him, and they flopped to his back. And that changed the fight. He's sitting there kicking his legs for like 3 minutes, Marcel. I'm like, why is Burns doing this? What's he doing? What did you think when you saw that?
Kind of odd,
It was so weird.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, maybe caught in the moment or something. I don't know.
It reminded me of when Verdum fought Overeem. Remember that fight? And he just kept flopping to his back, and he just lied in his back. Remember that fight in Strikeforce? Just sat there. I mean, it's a little bit different situation, but he lost the fight. I think he had some momentum. He hurt Usman, and then a minute later jumped to his back and was trying to play guard, I guess, and maybe catch a sub when he actually had the advantage for a bit on the feet early on. But either way, Burns gets knocked out. Okay, I'm going to get a bunch of comments here. Timothy Miller, what a rollercoaster fight. I had so much hope for Burns. I mean, dude looked good overall, but in the first round, and then after that, yikes. Timothy Miller, Usman's jab might as well been a right hook. I mean, it was incredible. Timothy Miller, I think he needs to be Colby again to really settle in the place where he's spoken in the same breath as GSP. That was a great fight. I was at that fight, super close. Knocked him out in the 5th round, although Mark Goddard had something to do with that. Marcus Williams, after seeing how good Usman performed with Trevor Whitman as head coach, do you think Usman's going to go back to Henry Hoof? No, I don't think so. I think he's good where he is. That Trevor Whitman, he does like private camp almost. He works with a few specific fighters, including Usman, including Gaethje. I wouldn't change anything if I was him. This was, to me, the best performance of his career. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree, man. Definitely, 100%. Yeah.
Daniel Edwards, I love Usman's attitude. He'll fight anyone. No shenanigans. I like it too. Hey, Tyler. He says, do you guys think Masvidal called simply wanting a bigger payday? I think he's trying to tell UFC he can be a major headliner after they gave him no help selling this pay-per-view. Dude, that's a great point. The co-main event was Maycee Barber and Alexa Grasso. And yeah, I know it was supposed to be Weidman Hall. That's not a big fight either. They needed a second title fight, I think, on this card. As far as the numbers for this card, I can't see it doing more than like 300,000, but I could be wrong. Oh, Marcel's gone. Hopefully he jumps back in. I think the numbers aren't going to be that great for this card as far as the pay-per-view goes. I could be wrong. I mean, it was an okay card. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's going to be too good. Let me just see where Marcel went. I think his internet probably dropped. He should come back here in a second. Oh, there he is. Marcel, man, I got so sad you left us. Come on, man.
I don't know, man. There's really bad connection, so I tried to restart it. So.
Nah, you're fine, bro. Timothy says Colby's a more logical pick for the next shot. He did beat Woodley in his last fight, but I think he needs one more. Like, it's crazy because I thought they're going to do Masvidal and Covington for tough, and now that looks like it's not going to happen. Daniel Edwards, for Usman's sake, they need to remind the audience of Edwards, but having Edwards in the main event contender fight, true. Hey, Valerie's here. She says Wonder Boy needs one more win. He's right there too. He wants to fight, but probably doesn't need another win. I don't think you get a title shot beating Jeff Neal. Daniel Edwards, I think the emotion got into Burns. Cody Garbrandt, crazy, sums it up very well. Very good. very good point. That might kind of like the Pedro Munoz fight where he did well and then he got caught in the firefight. Jose says, "What do you guys think of Wonderboy Usman?" I love that fight because Wonderboy has excellent takedown defense. I actually want to look at what it is, but I think it's like it's really good. So on the feet, yeah, Usman's looked improved, but I mean, Thompson is one of the greatest strikers ever at welterweight. Stephen Thompson, man, yeah, he's a beast, dude. Love the guy. We'll see if he gets that shot. But yeah, I don't know, Marcel. You're right. It'll probably be Leon and Colby next month, and the winner of that gets the title shot, right?
Yeah, I would expect would make the most sense in my opinion.
That's what we're saying, but I mean, Tyler's got a point too about Masvidal and the pay-per-views. You're right. It could be Jorge because that's what Usman wants. But as a fan, like we saw that fight last year and it wasn't a great fight. I don't know. I'm not interested in it right now. I like to see Masvidal get has he fought since then? Has he even fought since then?
Who?
Masvidal. Has he fought since Usman?
No.
Dude, come on. Get the guy a win first. Get him a fight. You don't lose 50-45 and then get a title shot. No way. Kevin Scott, what is with Wonderboy calling Edwards as soon as their interest comes out? Wonderboy's hurt, has some hand injury. I heard about that too. Yeah, he's not going to fight next month. What do you know about Wonderboy?
I mean, Wonderboy seems always been like the darling of the welterweight division, man. Everybody loves to do it, and I think he's good. But as fights, man, I mean, the thing is, if he fights, and how do you say that, a non-defensive fighter, he does very well. If he fights a defensive fighter, the fights suck. That's mostly how it is. So I don't know, man. If Usman is attacking him, it can be a fun fight. But if Usman also going and counter fighting, that fight can suck bad. So I don't know about it if I really want to see it.
Yeah, me either. You want to move on to Jose? Can you save your questions till the end if it's possible? Because we want to just get through the card first. I will take your questions, but he's got some other questions about stuff that's not card 258 related. But we are planning on talking about that news, including Struve a little bit later. Let's go through some other fights. I mean, listen, there were some fights on here that were kind of forgettable. Grasso Barber was a decent fight. Barber came on strong late, but just got outboxed. And I know you called this one. I'm still not too sure what to think about Grasso. I don't know if I buy her as a contender, but she looked pretty good in this fight. What do you think?
I barely can hear. I was just about to mess you. I barely can hear you, man. I don't know which one of our connection is bad, but I don't know.
Sorry, can you guys hear me? Can you just someone write in the chat if they can hear me and if they can hear Marcel. I can hear Marcel. I can hear myself, obviously, but there's an issue here.
Yeah, let us know, man. I mean, I can hear myself clearly, obviously, but yours like a little bit of to me, but it can be my connection as well.
I'm just asking the chat. Sorry, Marcel, if it's me. I can hear some talking though. Can you hear me at all, Marcel?
I hear you, but it's just like if you're going full sentences.
Okay. These guys are saying it's good. I think it's your connection, Marcel, so we're going to move on. If you can't hear me, type it in the chat, and I'll tell you what I said.
Okay.
I'm just going to get Cole's comment. He says, I'm here late. Sorry, GSP's the GOAT. Come on. I'm Canadian. You think I won't pick GSP? Get out of here. Get out of here, Marcel. Get out of here. Okay, so, yeah, Grasso, Barber, Gastelum, Heinisch. Man, Gastelum looked good in this fight. His striking was very on, and he was speedy, fast. He looked good. I thought Heinisch had a good chance here, Marcel, but taken down very often. His cardio looked questionable. What do you think of this fight?
Yeah, but can we talk about Grasso first against Barber?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, of course. Yeah, my bad. Go ahead.
Yeah, man, I really like Grasso. I liked her before the fight already. I said if she can keep it standing, she probably wins. The funny thing is that she did amazing on the ground as well. Only the third round was for Barber. Yeah, I think I really liked the performance for Grasso, man. She did very well. She won the first 2 rounds clearly, in my opinion. So 29-28. I wonder, man, people are like, why does Maycee Barber get so much hate? Well, because she talks a lot, and I don't hate Maycee Barber. I think she's a great talent and all, but she talks a lot, man. That's people don't like that if you talk a lot and you do it, And she was very sour after the Roxanne Modafferi win. She didn't even give Roxanne any props, so that's also a thing. Yep. But yeah, good fight. I think Barber did well in the 3rd round. She had to go because she was 20-18 behind. But yeah, Grasso won, and she will be entering the top 10 tomorrow probably.
Yep. And Timothy, he likes her. She's the real deal. She got good boxing, no doubt about it. And then Gastelum, what were your thoughts on his fight?
Yeah, I have to say I only saw the third round, so the first
I think he
two rounds,
lost the third round, if I'm not mistaken. He might have
yeah,
lost. Yeah.
I fell asleep the first two, so I was already late. It's the only fight I fell asleep, and I haven't watched it back, so can't
Okay.
really say. But
You didn't
I
miss much.
people say Gastelum did well, so
You didn't miss
uh,
much. I'm guessing the Ricky Simone fight made you a little bit tired because it went 30-27.
yeah.
Big sleepy Marcel. Yeah, I mean, Simone looked good, obviously. Now, one of the great, there were some good fights. The next two fights were absolutely amazing. Julian Marquez versus Maki Pitolo. I actually had Marquez by submission. One of the few good calls I had. I really liked him by sub here. And listen, Pitolo was on his way to winning. He won the first two rounds. He was probably going to lose the third, but he was on his way to winning the fight. Number one, kept leaving his neck out throughout the fight. Numerous times where Marquez had that guillotine choke set up, and then eventually the anaconda, obviously. But he had that guillotine many times during the fight. Pitolo, his gas tank failed him again too. He was winning the first two rounds, obviously, and then he gassed out a little bit in the third. He was taking a ton of damage. Even if he didn't get the finish, it could have been a 10-8 round because he took a lot of damage in that third round. So, overall, it wasn't a great performance by Marcel, because he was losing that fight. But he found a way to win. He found a way to dig deep. And I was watching it, and I'm like, come on, Julian, dig deep, man. Come on. Because I know how much heart that guy has. He battled back from 3 years away to get back in the octagon, Marcel. It meant a lot to him. And also, I think that layoff gave him some ring rust. But yes, I was very impressed. And then, of course, he asked Miley Cyrus to be his Valentine. I don't know what's going on with that because apparently he wants her to put a tattoo on herself. But anyways, what do you think of this fight? I thought it was amazing.
It was a good fight, man. Pitolo did very well in the first two rounds. He won those rounds. Marquez came back, won the third round. Looked like he won the post-fight interview as well. And after the post-fight interview, a few hours later, he lost the complete fight by tweeting something out about Miley Cyrus getting a henna tattoo or something, whatever that was. It was funny to me, but yeah. I mean, but overall, from a sports perspective, a great win for Marquez, a very needed win after such a long layoff, and good for him, man, to come back like that. I mean, he needed it, and for Pitolo sucks, man. I think we probably won't see Pitolo back. Maybe one more, but I'd be surprised, man.
I'd like to see him get one more, man. I mean, I know his record is only 2-3, but I like his fights for the most part, except for that horrid fight with your boy Calvin Potter. That fight was just trash, but the other fights were pretty fun. Daniel says he had him in sub by round 2, didn't bet it. It's okay. Valerie says 10 made me 300. Nice job. I guess you had him by round 3 sub. He looked good in that third round. Okay, so we'll get those other questions. Jose, I know you got some questions, and I'm going to answer them. I just want to get through this card first. We're almost done anyways. Tyler, James Krause's corner motivation had me wanting to run through a brick wall. How could Marquez not pull off the comeback? Dude, he's the best, man. I love Krause. Turned into a great coach. Good fighter, great coach. Let's go to the prelims, Marcel. I got to be honest, guys, this is like one of the most fun times, recent memory I can remember watching a fight. My whole family was watching this fight. It was on the TV downstairs, and we were watching it after dinner, and Hernandez and Vieira. I mean, what an absolutely amazing fight. Outstanding fight. Dude, I mean, Vieira looked incredible in that first round. Like, Marcel, I'm watching him, like, this guy's an absolute monster. The way he just threw him to the canvas, moved right into full mount. But the question mark we had, what happens if he doesn't finish in the first round? And we saw what happened. And this guy, man, I don't know what happened to Vieira. It's like he just it's like he turned to a statue. He was so stiff, guys, he couldn't move. He couldn't move. He couldn't walk. And Hernandez just tore him down. Absolutely phenomenal performance by Anthony Hernandez. To me, this was like a star-making performance by this guy. I think this is like a breakout performance by Hernandez, Marcel. This is the kind of performance he needed, in my opinion, to show everyone that he's a legitimate fighter. Because I got to be honest, going into this fight, I clearly overlooked this guy. Clearly, a lot of us did, including Timothy, because he said where is he? He said he ruined his parlay, dude. This is why I'm staying away from these big favorites right now. But in general, this is one of those ones that really shocked me. And clearly, I overlooked Anthony because he is a good fighter and he's got a lot of guillotine chokes. He's very good with that. It's amazing. The fact he finished Vieira with the guillotine is phenomenal. I still can't believe how bad this dude gassed. Tyler says, I've never seen a guy another human look as tired as Vieira was. Dude, it's like his whole body was stiff, and he was just there to get knocked out. You knew he was done after the first round. I wrote on my Twitter, I'm like, go throw every dollar you have on Hernandez live right now. And he wasn't even that big of a favorite, I don't think, after the first round. But, man, phenomenal. Timothy Miller, he looked dead. he did. I think Marcel's having some internet connections. Hopefully he jumps back in. Jose, I'll take this question for sure. He says, Fluffy versus Pino Soriano. Dude, that sounds like a great fight to me. I would love to see that fight. Big fan of both guys. Puna looked phenomenal in his last fight, knocking out Dusko with those punches. He looked phenomenal. Both guys, fantastic young fighters from Contender Series. I just think this was one of those performances by Fluffy where like he's going to become like a household name almost. The guy is a good fighter, man. And again, someone I overlooked, and it just makes me want to like look really more closely in these fights. Even fights like this where I'm like, I thought this was honestly an easy fight for Vieira. I'm like, why are they booking this fight? This is an easy first round sub, and it looked like it for about 5 minutes, and then he got so tired, and we knew that was going to be a problem. It's just crazy because he's actually been out of the first round a few times and never looked that tired. It was crazy. I also think he probably had too much muscle. Like I'm watching the weigh-ins. I mean, the guy looked like a brick, shithouse. He looked amazing, but all that muscle definitely hurt his cardio. There's no doubt about it. Marcel's back. Marcel, you there?
Yeah, man, probably those shitbags over here are working on the internet again. I don't know what's up with them, man.
It's okay, dude. We love having you there, Marcel. Even if you're here just in spirit. Andre, what's going on, man? He says, dude, I love when my casual friends get caught in the hype. Bet on Burns, free money for me. Nice job, man. Yeah, Usman, he's phenomenal, dude. But yeah, I just talked about Fluffy. Marcel, amazing performance, right?
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, who expected it, right? I said last time.
Oh, is he there? There he is.
For him, very happy for him. Very good. And a submission, man. He's only like this, like the second time ADCC world champion is being submitted in the UFC.
How crazy is that, eh? Honestly, how insane is that?
Absolutely, man.
Like, not only did he finish him, but he choked him out.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
Like he couldn't wait for ground and pound. He would have finished him for sure, easily. He could have just threw elbows. He wanted to make a point.
He wanted that submission win, yeah.
And well-deserved 50,000, no doubt about it. To be honest with you, it could have been fight of the night. I think it was amazing. I really think this was an incredible fight, but it's hard to reward a guy for having bad cardio, right? Like, it really is,
Listen, man, they could have given him 100K, in my opinion. It
could have been, yeah.
Amazing fight, amazing.
Yeah. I'm going to take these comments. Okay, Jose, again, I'll catch yours at the end. I'm going to go through back, and I'll get all yours, Jose, because I really like you. Andre, who would you guys like as a comeback fight for Burns? We didn't answer that one. And Timothy's asking too. Great question, guys. Phenomenal question. I actually have to pull up the rankings quickly. Let me pull them out. Welterweight. I mean, Burns versus Masvidal on paper makes a lot of sense because they're both coming off losses, but I don't know if that's going to happen. That would be a great fight, though, Marcel. Burns versus Masvidal. Burns versus Chiesa would be a good fight. Thompson's a great fight. Really, any of these fights.
I think I like the Chiesa. I like the Chiesa one.
Yeah, why not give Michael a step up? Give him a chance to fight a top guy, Maybe they'll do that fight. But I think Masvidal would be a good fight, too. I think it makes sense. But it seems like Usman wants Masvidal, so he'll probably get that title shot. Even though he hasn't won a fight in a while. It's been over a year. Getting back to the card, Bilal Muhammad, Marcel picks up a nice win by decision. Chris Gutierrez also had a decision win. Polyana Viana with an arm bar. And then opening up the card, Gabe Green against Phil Rowe. Actually, we'll talk about that one in a sec. Give me your thoughts on the other three, and then we'll talk about that fight. But Bilal, Viana, and Gutierrez, any thoughts on those three?
Bilal, pretty expected as I thought it would go, man. Dominating. Bilal is good overall. I thought Bilal is top 15, and Diego Lima had a good win streak, but I think Bilal is just a little bit too good at this moment for Diego Lima. We had Andre Ewell against Chris Gutierrez. Gutierrez looked very good in that fight, although Ewell did well in the first round until he got knocked down, and after that I think Gutierrez took over. So good win for Gutierrez on short notice. Ewell was also short notice, by the way. Polyana Viana against Mallory Martin. I thought it was a 50-50 fight for me on forehand, but I thought Viana could do damage on the ground when she got it to the ground, and man, she did very well. I mean, a beautiful armbar win for Viana, and she looks finally doing well right now in the UFC. She won her first, then she lost 3, and now she won 2 again. So,
Yep.
Hope for her it's upwards for her at this point.
Yep, I agree with that. And the Gutierrez fight, interesting fight because, Ewell was winning that fight, guys, and then he got caught with like a head kick or a knee at the end of the first round, and that changed the whole fight. Like, he was winning that fight, Marcel. I was going to write down 10-9 Ewell in that first round. Knocked down, 10-9 Gutierrez. Second round, I think Ewell won the second round, I think. And then the third, or on some one scorecard he did. Because it was 29-28, 30-27, 30-26. Yeah. It was basically Gutierrez after that, though, let's be honest. The head kick or knee or whatever it was changed the fight. Okay, last fight. I just want to get your thoughts on this because I know me and you were in the minority. Because we both did score Phil Rowe against Gabe Green first and third rounds. The third round was the round that it came down to, really. Because I know one judge had 30-27, but most people scored this fight 29-20 either way. First round, Phil Rowe, no doubt about it. He took him down. He had mount. He had full mount for multiple minutes. That's a 10-9 round. Second round, Gabe Green dropped him. Gabe Green did some damage. That's Gabe Green round. Even though he should have had a point deducted for that low blow. There was one low blow, Marcel, where he just punched him in the dick for no reason. Like, he just punched him in the – you remember that one? I was like, dude, he just punched the guy in the dick. Like, it wasn't even – like, it wasn't a mishit. He just aimed at it and punched at it. That should be a 1-point deduction, in my opinion. Didn't take a – I don't know who the ref was, but they didn't take a point. I think it was Mark Smith, actually. And then third round, Rowe had dominant positions again. Mount, full mount for a few minutes. Multiple takedowns. Positional control. Then, again, gets dropped like really late in the fight, and that swayed the judges. But, I think they're saying he was lane praying. That's not what lane pray is. Lane pray is not moving to full mount. That's not lane pray. Lane pray is when you stay in guard and just stay in the guy's guard. That doesn't like it's like how Nick Lenz used to fight 10 years ago. They don't allow that really anymore. They don't really allow lane pray anymore. Moving into full mount is not lane praying. That's a lot of points. If you want to score this fight for Gabe Green, that's fine. But you can't say the guy was lane praying when he moved into full mount and tried to get a finish. I know you scored it for Rowe too, so what do you think?
Hey, man, whenever you don't know who the referee is and it's a bad call, just say Cristianoni.
Probably was it, actually.
I have no idea. Yeah, I had the same as you, man. First round Rowe, third round Rowe, and I even tweeted out, man, Rowe won this fight by having a better fight IQ than Gabe Green, and I really thought he would get the decision. I was pretty surprised, to be honest. I know Green did probably more damage on the feet than Rowe did, but I think the dominating positions and trying to go to mouth, like you said, and being in mouth was enough. That's what I thought. So I rewatched the fight. I still think it was 29-28 Rowe. Hey, but whatever. I picked Gabe Green, so it didn't really matter to me as for my picks, But I mean, I think Rowe won the fight. But yeah, I mean, what can you say, right?
I mean, here's a great comment from Tyler. Third round, classic case of a fighter having one major moment in the round and judges forgetting the other 459. Dude, so true. It happens so often. This is why Pride-style judging is questionable, because I love Pride and everything, but, people always forgot what happened in the first 10-minute round and the second 5-minute round, Marcel. What happened in that last round? That's who usually won the fight.
Yeah. So I also love when people get upset when you give a score at 29-28. It's like, why are you getting upset about this, man? I mean, you saw
for you? Yeah, I saw that. And, people were doing it to me, too. They're like, you're biased. I'm like, whatever. Here's the thing.
I picked Green. So.
Yeah, and there's no benefit for me or Marcel, whoever else is doing the scoring on decisions.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it now, but if anyone is, there's no benefit to those guys scoring the fight for a certain person. Like, it doesn't help them. It doesn't benefit anyone. Like, there's too many fans out there that think that media actually influences the real judges, Marcel. Like, there's people out there that think they think you're actually scoring the fight, Marcel. There are people out there that are that dumb. They think that's you. They think you're Chris Tione or whoever. Timothy Miller. Go ahead. What did you say?
Don't go too far.
Okay. Tim said I had Green and Rowe had like a minute of control time. He had a lot of. I gotta check it out. Let me just look at the stats here for that fight. And again, I know stats don't count everything, but I will say this: he did get credited with the knockdown. At the time, I wasn't sure as someone watching the fight if it was a knockdown, so I wasn't even sure if it was. It's sometimes it's hard for the judges, right? I'm looking at this. Phil Rowe control time. Yes, overall it's 543 to 213. But if you break down the rounds, first round 209 to 113, so double. Third round 245 in the ground, Marcel, in 37 seconds. But Green had 18 significant strikes landed to 8 for Rowe, and he had a knockdown. Rowe had 2 minutes, 2:45 of control and 2 out of 4 takedowns scored. It was a close fight, dude. I'm not going to sit here and argue it was a bad call. Powler said he had Rowe as well, and he said he bet Green. So just like you, Marcel, there you go, same thing. Tim said I had Green. The only thing Rowe did better was barely have control time. Again, dude, he out-controlled him 5 times, literally 5 times the amount of time in the third round. That's a lot more time. But again, it is about damage. Green got that late knockdown. I'm not going to sit here and complain about this decision. It is what it is. All right. I'm going to get to Jose's questions because he was so polite as waiting for us. And Tim says it was close. Exactly, Tim. I'm not going to. This is not like one of those fights where I'm like complaining about the decision. Now I want to get Jose's comments. He asked you a few questions. Stefan Struve retired this morning, guys. Stefan Struve, 32 years old. By the way, I'm seeing different records because he posted some pictures saying he's 33 and 19. But if you go to or whatever it was, and then you go to Tapology and Sherdog, they have a different record listed for them with less wins. I'm not sure where he got these 4 extra wins from. But either way, the guy retires with 29 and 16 record. The crazy thing is he was 16 and I think it was something like that, Marcel, or 29 and 13 record, I should say. 16-2 record before the UFC. In the UFC, 13-11. So positive record. One of the best bets I ever made was Struve. I think it was plus 150. He knocked out Stipe Miocic. One of the best bets I ever made. No one believed me that day. They were like, "You're crazy, dude." I was like, "He's going to do it." But this was before Stipe was actually like really good. That's his best win. He also has a win over a Bigfoot. He has a win over a Big Nog, Pat Barry. He had 8 bonuses in the UFC. He had some amazing fights. The Dennis Stoinich fight. And I think it was in Germany. That was one of the craziest fights I've ever seen. One of those bloody fights. Struve, listen, the guy was not a great fighter. He had a very questionable chin. He got knocked out a lot. In fact, he was knocked out 9 times in his career. However, the guy lasted in the UFC for 12 years. He fought since he was 18 years old, or some 20 years old in the UFC, Marcel. He's a pioneer of this division in many ways, of the European heavyweight scene. I do have a lot of respect for this guy. He had a pretty good career overall. Best of luck. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, man, that Stoinich fight, that reminds me of a headline by a German newspaper who put that on the front cover, and it was like, this is more awful than World War II or something. I was like, what crazy headline is this? So, yeah, man, Stefan Struve. You say Stefan Struve, but Stefan Struve, he's a good guy, man. I mean, he's always one of the nicest guys I met in the game. Great career he had. Most UFC fights for a Dutch fighter, So, like you said, man, I think his best win, probably for me, the way he fought in that fight is against Big Nog. I think he finally fought with his length, his height. His height is like huge, and he finally used that in that fight to keep his distance with front kicks and all of that kind of stuff. So I really like that fight. I think the Miocic fight, of course, is great.
Yep.
Bigfoot Silva fight over here in Rotterdam, where we knocked him out within 15 seconds was amazing.
Yep.
So I mean, he's a great dude. I'm kind of disappointed in the UFC, have to be honest here, because on Friday, on Thursday, they put on their website former fighter. So there was already people were like, we checked it out daily, and they are like, hey, Stefan Struve cut or whatever, and I got some questions, and I was like, I have no idea. So one guy from MMA DNA's been talking to Struve, and Struve was like, yeah, I'm going to put out a statement, but how do you know? And it's like, yeah, that's former fighter on the UFC website. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, man, the UFC, why can't you wait a week or weeks before a fighter makes a statement? Because now we had to make that statement this week, and we didn't know when he wanted to make that statement. So, that's kind of disrespectful to me. But yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Great career for Struve. I wish him all the best.
I'm just gonna pull this up really quick. We got time. Pull up this storage fight. Actually, someone just reminded me on Twitter. My boy Dan Vreeland from Top Turtle Podcast. We're going to be joining later today, but he was saying the Christian Warcraft fight. That was a crazy fight too. But yeah, I mean, let's watch this one. This was
the Warcraft fight was with the lip.
Yeah, that was a crazy one. This one's nuts too. This was Dennis Stoinich versus Stefan Struve. I was looking for this newspaper. I really want to find, if you can find that, Marcel. Like, Not now, obviously, but at some point it showed to me. I'd love to see that newspaper. I think I remember hearing it. Look at bloody. This fight was like, it was just a bloodbath, dude. Look at this. Look at that. Struve's head pouring blood.
Yeah.
Look at this fight, man. This was like, look at this, Marcel. More, what is it? More violent than World War II? Is that what they said?
Yeah. Or the most blood we saw since World War II, something like that.
Bloody as hell. I mean, this was. I remember, like, I was really getting the sport at the time, and I remember watching it. I was like, holy crap, this fight is brutal. Like, and the fact he won because he got hurt so bad in that first round. I think I'm just showing you guys the second round. Obviously, he's going for the rear naked.
The rear naked choke, man. I think it was more like a face crank or a neck crank.
How did he finish him? Maybe he just got punched. Was it just punches? No, it's a rear. It says rear naked. Let's see here. I think. Let's see. Punches. That's the neck, and he's fishing for it. And I try to see the shot of Struve where he just gets up. There you go. Yeah, you're right, Marcel. I mean, the guy he was tired too. Look at this. I love this scene here. And then Struve is just.
Yeah, with a smile on his face.
Look at this picture. That is awesome.
Fought Velasquez and Struve, man, and then he got caught.
Yeah. I mean, the guy, you know what? You look at who he lost to in the UFC, it was like really tough fights. Like JDS. His first fight in the UFC was JDS.
Yeah.
Rory Nelson knocked out Travis Brown, Mark Hunt. The Mark Hunt fight, I had a lot of money on Mark Hunt that night. I won a lot of money on Mark Hunt. Mark Hunt was plus 200. I couldn't believe it. He broke his jaw, I think, in that fight. It was bad. The Overeem fight was bad. Volkov hurt him bad. Tuvesa, Rothwell. I mean, the guy. Listen, Marcel, the guy's chin was very questionable. 9 knockout losses, and I think he made the right call. Reading a statement.
Mm-hmm.
Health was a big problem. He said he had some inner ear damage, which is so scary. He said he took a shot in training where, like, it's not one of those shots that's not supposed to hurt you, and it did. The guy, he should have retired a few years ago, quite frankly, Marcel.
Yeah, it's just difficult for fighters, I think he had problems with his heart. It would have been better if he stopped right there. But yeah, you got still those fighters have still that itch to go back, and you feel like you can still improve and can be better, So it's hard to say that somebody has to stop, but I'm happy for him if he feels to stop right now. Better do it. He got a kid now, so he probably feels as well more responsibility to be at home with his kid when he's older as well.
Yeah, I saw that. Good for him. I just saw that actually. Daniel says that Struve, you want to be an effing fighter. Dude is crazy. I recommend watching the whole fight. I just showed you guys like the famous part. Now, again, getting back to Jose's questions. Thoughts on the one heavyweight division? I honestly don't have a ton of knowledge about it. Is Brandon Vera the champion? Is he the champ?
He's probably going to fight Arjun Bula next. Bula signed his contract.
So Bula's going to lie on top of him for 5 rounds, huh?
Possible.
What's with the division? I know Rug is their big prospect now, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're trying to build it right now, I think, but we have to see what's going to happen in that division. I think, listen, man, if Bula wins against Vera, it's going to be tough for people to get that belt from Bula because Bula's wrestling is that good and he can lay on top on you for 5 rounds for sure. So, yeah.
Yeah, he's not the most exciting guy, and I say that as a fellow Canadian, but, there's a reason the UFC let him go. I'll say that. And then Jose had this question earlier, too. I want to get to this one. He said, thoughts on Dana's comment saying from 1 to 9, they'll battle up to see the lightweight champion. I don't get it. He's saying we're going to do a tournament, but it's not really an actual tournament. It's just kind of a tournament. Why don't they just make a fucking tournament?
I agree with you, but I understand why.
Why? Because Bellator is doing a tournament?
Because they can't shift it as much as they want. If they're going to do a tournament, you have the brackets ready. You have 1 to 8, and then that fight going to fight that fight, and you can't make this fighter to fight that fighter if it's on the other side of the bracket. They want to be full in charge. Who fights who? So that's why they're not doing a tournament.
Right. Yeah, I see a lot of people say it's because of Bellator. I don't agree with that because the UFC actually had the first tournament at UFC 1. So, like, you know what I mean, Marcel? Like, it's like people are acting like Scott Coker invented the tournament. That's
we all love tournaments. We all love tournaments, but it has to be done in an amount of time. You don't do a tournament like Bellator did last time, like we do a tournament over 1.5 years, for example.
Well, this one's taken like 2.5 years, the featherweight tournament. It's taken a while. It's not really their fault completely because of COVID, obviously, but
still, man.
Yeah. They if PFL gets through these tournaments, usually okay. Why can't Bellator?
the thing that bothers me with Bellator all the time is when they're doing like now they're doing it not like that, but last time when they do the quarterfinals, we do 4 separate events for it, so we can have 4 headlining events. It's just I understand it from a business point of view, but it's just stupid, that doesn't feel like a tournament at all to me. For me, a tournament is like what Pride did. You got the final elimination, you got the last 8 or whatever how they call it. You got 6 fighters, you do 8 fights on one night. The next 8 were on a quarterfinal. You do 4 fights in another event. Then you got 2, you do another event, and then you got the final. And of course you have to deal with injuries and that kind of stuff and all. But that was fun. But now it's like, not now with the light heavyweight. It looks pretty good. In April you got within 8 days you got the four quarterfinal fights. So that's cool, But not as I did it before, man. I really didn't like it. So.
No, I'm with you. I'm gonna get this comment, Tyler. Pride was a wild time, dude. Me and Marcel he was showing me his Pride collection, and I was telling him about mine. Like me, I love Pride. It was the best, literally the best promotion. Pride and Strikeforce were the best promotion. I love Strikeforce. It was amazing. UFC is great. Don't get me wrong, but like if people are just getting into MMA now and they only know about the UFC, Marcel, I feel bad because they missed a great time during like the late 2000s. Great time, man.
Pride music. Ding, 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 ding.
Pride music's the best, dude. Dude, the best one's actually Pride 1. It's so awesome. You got Steven Quadros there, the fight professor. Dude, I fucking love that stuff, man. I'm an old school MMA friend, guys. Same with Marcel. We love it. Jose Flores, thoughts on Don Madge versus Navidad? We did talk about this fight the other day, I think. Marcel, he likes both of them, I think. What are your thoughts?
Why was that fight called up from Nasrat? Nasrat had some problem.
Filling in for someone.
Nasrat up with the Arman fight that was called. I think he was injured or he had COVID. One of the two was health issues. So I don't know if he ducked him, but I don't think it was a favorable fight for him at all. But match Nasrat, it can be intriguing fight. I think, man. I still think Nasrat is a good prospect. And matches as well, man. But match finally getting that step up in competition, in my opinion, from what he fought in his first 2 fights. So looking forward to it. We can see where both guys standing in this division, man.
Absolutely. Now let me get some comments from our boy Kevin Scott. Hey, Kevin. With Glover serving as the backup at UFC 259, predicting the sad ending. Main event's fine. Glover fills in for either Santos or Rakic on 2 days' notice and loses his title shot forever. Dude, you're depressing me, man. I'm a huge Glover mark. I love Glover, dude. He's the best. Kevin Scott, 5 title fights in March. How many changed hands? I'm predicting 2 or 3 new champs. That's pretty fair. I'll say at least 1 changes hands. We're going to have a new champ for sure. There's no way. And all 5 of those champions, I think, are favored except for, obviously, Yan. That's the one I think a lot of us are thinking is going to change hands for sure. But there'll probably be Yan versus Israel. Most people think Israel will win, right?
What we have? Let's see.
Stipe and Francis.
Israel against Yan. I go with Israel. That's 1. Megan against Nunez. I go with Nunez, so none. Yan against Sterling. Go with Yan, so none. And Ngannou against Stipe. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Volkanovski against Ortega. It's a tricky one as well, man, honestly. But I don't know, man. If Ortega fights like he did against Korean Zombie.
Pretty good in that fight, man. Yeah. So, you know what? I think 2. I think I'll say 2. Definitely 1, but probably 2. Fair enough?
I'm definitely going with Izzy in that one, but I said that.
Tyler says Izzy and Francis may take the belts. Manny and Volk will retain. Maybe Aljo pulls it out. That sounds pretty fair. I hate looking that far ahead, though. I mean, it's so hard to look a month ahead when we have we literally have 15 fights, by the way, on Saturday. And I'll break them all down with Cole Shelton tomorrow. Hopefully Marcel can join the chat. I know you got a busy week, Marcel. Are you starting to do the political mail? Is that what it was? Election stuff? Or
that's next week, man.
Next week. So Marcel's still got another week where he can join us. He got some work. Marcel has a full-time job outside of this. That's the thing people don't understand. Marcel, a lot of the best people in this business don't do this as their career, as their living. They do it because they have a passion for the sport. Kapos is the same way. Go ahead,
I wish I could pay for this, man. Not for this, but just for the.
I know, dude, same. I mean, listen, it's tough, and I'm lucky I am employed, but I've been doing this for 10 years. It's not like I came in this business a year ago. I went to school for it. I've been through the school of hard knocks too. So it's a tough industry. I wish there was more money in this business. I think there is money, but they just don't give it to the people that really should earn it, and that is the fighters. And I think a lot of the journalists. I think a lot of the people controlling the top of it control the funds. Anyways, A few other things, Marcel. Leon Edwards looking for an opponent. Stephen Thompson, that's who he said, but that's not going to happen. Nate Diaz, he's calling out. I don't know. Like, I mean, Colby Covington is the other matchup now, they're saying, but the fight's March 13th, I believe, so it's a month away. He could get pulled, like I said, pulled for Usman. They could do that too. That's an option. I think he probably ends up fighting Colby, but I'm not 100% sure. And I wouldn't be surprised if, like, I feel bad for the guy because he's waited all this time for a ranked opponent, Marcel. If he goes and fights a guy who might not even be ranked or someone freaking like Bilal Muhammad just to stay busy. And Bilal is a great fighter. I don't think he beats Leon, though, So, like, I don't know at this point who's going to fight because you hope it's Colby. How do they know Colby's going to even sign for that fight? What are your thoughts? Who's going to be?
Yeah, same, man. I hope it's Colby. It should be Colby, but if not, make Chiesa.
That's a good fight too. He deserves it, eh? Like, he deserves to step up. He stayed busy. He's won his fights. I love Leon. He's got to get a fight in March. There's no way he can wait longer than that, though.
I agree with you.
Tyler says a 50 fights on Saturday has me jazzed. LOL. I'm sure Thursday we'll have 4 canceled and 2 new opponents. 100%, bro. There's no way those fights will last. And of course, I stayed up all night last night, like reading about the fights in preparation this week. I gotta watch a lot more tape though. There's a bunch of new guys on the cards, so should be good. Let's go to your page for a few minutes, Marcel. We'll just go do some fight announcements quick.
Right.
If you guys have any more questions, throw them in. We got like less than 10 minutes left, but we'll talk about a few fights quickly. One of my guys didn't Al break this fight? That's right, Al. Oh, I didn't have the page open. Sorry. Where is it?
I always call him Al Suluzinho just for fun.
Yeah, Al is Alfredo. He's a good dude. He works for BJ Penn. He broke this fight. KB Buller against Andreas Michailidis. KB Buller got knocked out by Tom Breeze with a jab in his UFC debut. Andreas Michailidis had this weird fight with Bukauskas where he like fell outside the door. Like they didn't have the door shut and he fell outside of it and they said he was knocked out. It was a really weird fight, honestly, and a weird ending to the fight. Kind of felt bad for him, but he was knocked out, obviously. It's just that his coaches didn't have the door shut. He fell out of it. Remember that, Marcel?
Yeah, really weird, man. And it was, I think, Sataki was the referee back then.
Kevin Sataki.
It was really weird. You know, he thought he could sit there, and like you said, the cage wasn't shut, so he fell through, and they were like, "Yeah, we call it off." It was really weird.
Yeah, it was. But I like. I mean, I'm Greek, half Greek, so I mean, this is one of my guys in the UFC. There's like, I think we had Kostas Philippou before. He was kind of Greek, and then we have this guy, Elias Theodorou too, who had this fight recently. But I like him. Jack Shore, Hunter Azure. Why is Jack Shore not fighting ranked guy yet?
I don't know, man. I honestly like the matchup. You don't?
It's okay. I mean, Hunter, I really liked him in Contender Series,
Yeah.
but he got knocked out by Kelleher, didn't he, last year? Like that shocked me, I gotta be honest. Kelleher's not a knockout artist. He knocked him out. So
I think in the fight he was winning actually before that happened. So
obviously I need to go back and watch the fight again for sure. I just remember getting finished and being very surprised. I picked Azure in that fight. I guess maybe I'm just low on him after that, but I'm really high on Jack Storm, man. I mean, the guy is phenomenal on the ground. Marcel, like, great submissions. We saw that against Aaron Phillips a few fights ago. So he's great, and he'll be a big favorite in this one. Dana Batrigal against Kevin Natividad. This guy, man, that last knockout against Miles Johns, like the way he fell down. Remember that? That was weird. That was crazy, eh? And then Batrigal, he has some good wins. Kaikara France, Guido Canetti. Yeah, that was his UFC win, I believe.
Yeah, he only lost to
Ali Alatai or something. Yeah. And it was I believe fight of the night. David, I like this guy, Dvorak, and Paiva is good too. What are your thoughts on this fight?
Amazing fight, man. Really looking forward to this one. I think Dvorak looked great, although Bisping thought he lost against Bruno Silva. I still don't know how.
No way, how?
I mean, I watched the fight back and listened to the commentary. I like Bisping, but that was worse. I want to go talk about the commentary last Saturday night, by the way. Now I'm thinking about
Let's do it. Go for it.
And Julian Paiva, great fighter. I'm a big fan of Paiva. If you don't know his backstory, really look it up, man. Guy had some real bad things going up when he went to the UFC. His pretty much his girlfriend got killed. You know, so I'm happy. He was thinking about stopping. You know, and then
what happened to her? What happened?
So they got like they were in a club or something. I don't know the exact thing. So if I'm wrong, my apologies. He were in a club, and there was a guy who was annoying to his girlfriend, and they are like, "Okay, let's go home." And when they go home, he, I think they were on a bike on a, how do you say that, on a bike with a motor in it? I don't know how you say, a motorbike, you
Okay.
know. And they were at the traffic lights, and then they got hit by a car on purpose, and he got injured, and she died. So
Wow.
yeah, they got arrested, I think, or they didn't. I don't know, but yeah, after that he didn't want to fight anymore, and he still pulled through, and yeah, now he's in the UFC. That
That's
happened
sad.
before he went to the UFC, by the way.
That's sad. What? So, and you know what? Honestly, there's some other fights here that are. I mean, they're not really even worth talking about, honestly. But what were you gonna say about the commentary? Because you had something to say. What were you gonna say? Go ahead. We got less than 5 minutes, so go ahead and rant.
Really, man. I mean, Joe Rogan and DC. Why do they keep putting these two together, man, in the pay-per-view? And John Anik, I really like John Anik, by the way. But man, why has he put up with these two all the time, man? I mean, DC is not that bad, but don't combine him with Joe Rogan, please, man. I mean, uh, for me, I just like to watch fights. Hear some good commentary, and man, just a bunch of kids, and there are some people who really like it, but I think most of those people are just watching sometimes MMA, and they're like, oh cool, they're laughing and all that kind of stuff. That's really weird to me, man. I mean, uh, listen, man, I respect Joe Rogan a lot. I thought he was great a few years ago, but everybody has a best before date, so and I think Joe Rogan has passed a long time ago. And I mean, also with I know Anik got that commentary about the custody, the child custody. I think you will thank them even for it and on
Yep.
Twitter.
Yep. I
So
saw that. What is with that? People were just making a big issue out of something that really wasn't, and then you had the fighter himself saying, "Hey, I appreciate John even saying something." But let's take out MMA forum guy. If we're talking about commentators, should talk about other fighters have. Should we talk about what other fighters have child custody battles? Listen, I thought it was weird too. I got to be honest. Like when I heard it, I was like, where's this coming from?" But then you heard this. We heard we will talk about it later. Maybe him and John had a conversation that day or the day before where they had talked about it. It clearly was important to him. It was odd. Okay, so this is the last question we're gonna take because we have 2 minutes left, Marcel. So we're gonna take Marcus's question, and then we'll plug our stuff. Okay. What do you think with Dana White and Ariel Helwani? Will the beef ever end? Okay, so basically what happened was Gina Carano got fired from the Mandalorian last week. By the way, I've never even seen that show. I've heard of it, obviously. I've never watched it. Never watched it. I like Gina, though, as a fighter. I got to be honest. One of my favorites of all time, no doubt about it. Having said that, I did see the comments. It's very questionable. Why would you ever tweet something like that? It's just beyond stupid, the shit people tweet and put on their Instagram. You don't need to talk about this kind of stuff. Seriously. It's her fault. So, yes, freedom of speech, I understand. But at the same time, dude, if I said that, I expect to be fired too because, yes, your freedom of speech as a person, that doesn't mean your employer has to keep you employed. Now, as far as the whole comment she made, I can't go and say Ariel being offended is stupid or something like a lot of people have said, and Ariel's making out to be about himself. I don't agree with that because, quite frankly, I mean, he is a Jewish guy. We all know that. And her comment was about the Holocaust and Jewish people. So I can see why he was upset. Dana calling him a douche was wrong too. Having said that, he called him a douche. I mean, it happens. Like, it's not a great comment. I don't agree with it. I think people are, acting like something else, like something more bad happened here. It's bad. We know Ariel and Dana don't get along, but I just feel like this is kind of being blown out of proportion now at this point. But I agree overall with what Ariel said. I just think at this point it's being a little bit blown out of proportion. Like, you got all these journalists saying they have his back and stuff. Why? Because he called him a douche? I don't know about that. What are your thoughts?
Listen, man. I mean, do I agree with Gina Carano's views on this one? No, I don't. But man, people can keep nagging about everything, on Twitter. It just bores me to death, If you say it one time, we hear it. We don't have to see you under every comment or quote tweeting everyone who disagrees with you. I got upset, last night that we saw that clip from Gilbert Burns on the thing, or how do you say that? When he came on the airport and his kids walked through him, and he had this face mask under his chin to say hi to his kids, and then somebody's gonna reply like, "Dude, can you put your face mask on normally?" I was like, "Shut the fuck up, man."
Yeah.
I mean, just shut up. He knows he should have done that, but who are you? And that's the kind of stuff that bothers me all the time on Twitter. But I didn't agree with Carano, but I'm not gonna nag about it the whole damn
I just
time.
think it's pointless to like complain about. Like again, I think Ariel was very offended, obviously, and I can't blame him at all. I mean, quite frankly, I thought that the post she made was just disgusting, obviously. But at the same time, I just think it's being blown out of proportion. Like, if he called me a douche, I would laugh about it, quite frankly. I think it'd be hilarious. I'd be like, Dana thinks I'm a douche. That's awesome. Dana knows who I am. I'm just kidding.
That's lying all the time, so he doesn't think you're a douche if he says it.
Yeah, no, I'm just joking. But again, I like Ariel. I respect Ariel. And he is obviously one of the best journalists ever in the sport, arguably the best probably. This whole thing is – I hope we can move past it, I'll say that. Because as an MMA fan, dude, I don't care about the political side of it at all.
Same.
I got to be honest, guys. Like, I understand that, sports and politics, they do have this meaning together and they share the same thing. But for me, when I come here with Marcel and Cole and you guys, we just like to talk about MMA. We like to keep the other stuff.
Don't call us privileged because we don't want to talk about it at all, man. I mean, if I want to talk about MMA Twitter, of politics, I'm not going to Twitter. I just talk to people in my normal life. I care about, I will know who value my opinion, and I value their opinion. I'm not going to talk politics with MMA guy 5062223 and then want to know on Twitter who calls me a dick or whatever. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Marcel's not a dick. He's actually a great dude, man. And again, one of the best guys. And like I said, I think, dude, you need to do what's it called? A Patreon, man. I'm telling you, because the amount of you're doing the Lord's work, dude. And you see Caposa, who also does the Lord's work. He got some nice love from the fans, and they're giving him a little bit of money. I think Marcel, guys, you guys tell him what to do. It's his life, but I think the Patreon thing for Marcel makes a lot of sense personally. But it's his thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. By the way, Tyler, if you want me to follow you, I have to my handle, man. You have to give you my handle.
I followed Tyler. I recognized him from here, and that's why I followed him. So thanks, Tyler. Appreciate it, man. I'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. with Cole. We'll be breaking down UFC Vegas 19. Can't wait to talk about that. So that's tomorrow at 10 a.m. Marcel, man, thanks again for joining me. I really appreciate it, man, as always. I'll try to get you on Thursday, Marcel, but I know you obviously work, so it'll be tough, but I'll ask you either way.
Yeah, man, I'm trying, I'm trying. If I can come on, I come on. And even if I can come on 15 or 20 minutes later, I will do it, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this guy, you got to understand, like, this dude, this guy is out there delivering mail all day.
Bro, I tell you, if I had a headband with where I could connect my phone on, I would do it, man. I would do it.
I would love to see his walk, but this guy, Marcel, deserves a lot more respect and appreciation, I think, from the big journalists in the sport. This guy is one of the best guys doing it, and we love him here. So, Marcel, thanks again. We went a little past the hour, but I'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m., guys, and have a great day. Bye.
Bye.